Hello, hi there. I'm Bella, the Secret Psychic, and this is welcome, I should say, to my channel here at YouTube. And for those of you who might be watching this on repeat on Facebook, also welcome as well. So, this I'm going to be talking today about lucid dreaming and why I think it's a great thing to do, because it gives you lots of power and control. It's something that most people do when they're in REM sleep, and I've got a few slides that I'm sort of going to talk over to kind of explain kind of what is a lucid dream, what are the sort of tips and techniques that you should be doing before even trying to have a lucid dream, and then some techniques. So I'm going to move to my first slide. If you haven't, the first time you're seeing me here, then I'm Bella the Secret Psychic, and I have a Facebook community that you can join. Just search for Bella the Secret Psychic, or again, you can join and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, or you can visit my website at www.thesecretpsychic.co.uk for my services, but also for lots of free downloads and some other videos that I've done as well, which you'll either find on YouTube or on my website as well. So I'm going to go over and talk about what is a lucid dream. So right now what we're going to talk about is what is a lucid dream. So basically a lucid dream is any dream during which you kind of become aware that you're dreaming. It's kind of like a simple realization that kind of snaps you into your waking consciousness, and it kind of enables you to explore your dream world with total clarity. Everything you see, hear, touch, taste, smell can be basically as authentic as reality. It's truly mind-blowing to discover this kind of virtual world. Fulfill your fantasy, fly over mountains, go base jumping, time travel, see dinosaurs, be a ninja, whatever it is that you kind of want, really. Overcome, and it can help you kind of overcome personal psychological issues, but in the safety of that dream, so that you can face your fears, your anxieties, your traumas in a reoccurring dream. You can also tap into your creativity in sometimes unexpected ways. You can make music or solve problems, and experts who have studied lucid dreams kind of agree that everyone has the potential to have a lucid dream. But only a small amount of people actually learn how to do it on a regular basis. What I found is that most people generally have at least one lucid dream sort of every couple of months. Lucid dreams, talking about science, is scientifically proven. There's been loads of scientific research that has proven the existence of lucid dreaming. I think the first test was done actually in the UK in 1975. That kind of scientific proof at that time, that was done by a British parapsychologist called Dr. Keith, recorded a set of predetermined eye movements from his lucid volunteer. And it was a basic way of being able to communicate with the dreamer from the outside world. Lots of studies done sort of in Harvard, and you can kind of research this so that it's not some sort of pie in the sky kind of idea. So what can you do in a lucid dream? A fully lucid dream can be rich, very visual in detail. When you probe, it can generate seemingly impossible levels of self-awareness. It can basically take your mind out of the things that have been bothering you and allow you to solve things, because there are no laws, there's no boundaries, there's no limitation. Basically anything you can conceive come true. You can kind of take control in your dreams. I kind of think about lucid dreaming and being awake or waking up in a lucid dream like the kind of Matrix, or some people like to liken it to the sort of different dream levels of that film called Inception. And I would say that that's pretty much bang on the money, those kind of two kind of theories. So that is a little brief overview of what lucid dreaming is. So I'm just going to go back now to the other screen.
Hi, so welcome back, and hopefully that gives you an explanation of my interpretation anyway of what a lucid dream is. I think it's most people's interpretation, but I want to kind of talk through now a really important step that I say to everybody should be doing before they even try to have a lucid dream. I'm going to be talking about basically self-awareness, to be in the present, to meditate, to be aware, because if you aren't aware and awake when you are awake, then how are you going to wake yourself up when you're in a lucid dream? So these are just some of the tips and exercises really to kind of kickstart that process that you should be trying to practice every day. So bear with me.
Hi, so yes, we're going to now look at something that I'd like people to kind of do before trying to do lucid dreaming, because if you can't be self-aware in your waking everyday life, you can't do lucid dreaming if you don't practice self-awareness when you're awake, basically. So basically self-awareness is the mental ability to recognize who and what you are, and namely that you are distinctly separate from other people and your environment. This knowledge enables you to consciously realize your own personality, your feelings, and desires, and it allows you to have abstract thoughts about who you are and things you've done in the past or will do in the future. And as humans, we have a very high capacity for self-awareness, even though there are some animals who have a good set of self-awareness too. So I'm going to be talking about a few ways or some exercises that you can kind of do to practice self-awareness. And it's a bit like one of my taglines that I like to use, which is, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. And that's just so true to think about that. So one thing I'd like you to think about is observation. It's a really simple observational exercise in self-awareness. You need to go to a quiet place, indoors or outdoors, where you can be left alone for a while with no distractions. Sit down and take some slow, deep breaths and allow everything to slow down while you attune yourself to your environment. Focus on what's going on around you as opposed to what's going on inside your own head. Most of us go about our days jumping from one distraction to another and pay little attention to our surrounding environment. Instead of ignoring the background noise, let's tune into it basically and see what it's doing. This is also a very good technique if you want to enhance your clear hearing abilities, so your clear audience. Basically, look at any inanimate object that catches your gaze and that you can clearly study its shape. Is it flat? Is it straight? Is it jagged? Is it curved? Just really examine stuff. So you're hearing and then you're looking, which again is going to help any clear seeing, clairvoyant ability as well. When you're training your brain to be in the present, be very observant, and be very detailed in what it is that you're looking and seeing. If you do this and you pay close attention, it'll become very handy when you're dreaming, because again, in your dreams, if you're practicing this in your waking day, your natural predisposition, let's say, when you're dreaming, is to also be that detailed in what is in your dreams, in terms of the details, what it is you hear, see and do. So another exercise that you can do when you're awake is what I call imagination, or imagine the impossible. This exercise is based on a well-known lucid dreaming technique called reality checking or reality testing. You take an object from the first exercise that we talked about, so that could be a glass of water, it could be an ornament that you've studied for a while in that kind of daily mindfulness, as it were, or self-awareness. Now imagine that it's shattering, as if it was really spontaneously fractured, by a high-pitched sound. There are countless ways to imagine that to happen, but I guess make it as surreal and as dramatic as possible. these sorts of surreal events happening in dreams, by imagining them and analysing them, we trigger a level of awareness that causes us to ask questions like, this can't be real, I am dreaming. This exercise provides a training ground for us to stop sleepwalking through our day, study and observe our reality, and question what is real or not. And when you're in your lucid world, you'll have basically like what I call a classic lucid dream reality check that basically means that you can tell yourself when you are asleep to become aware that you are dreaming when peculiar things like that happen, if that makes sense. Another exercise is to kind of observe yourself regularly. Practice this. You know, the first two exercises that I just talked about explore our perceptions of the external environment. So now you need to turn it from outside to within. And that's practice through meditation. If you don't meditate, try. But sometimes try to do it before you fall asleep, because that's good. And if you want to start meditating on a regular basis, I recommend that you can listen to, and you know, there's loads of sort of meditative stuff on YouTube, but also I have a meditative chant also on my website that you can use as well. And it's, again, a way for you to take some deep breaths, to look inwards, and to kind of, you know, do what I call a body scan, check out what's going on for you, be more internalized as well. When you do that, and you will constantly, you know yourself, you know what's happening internally for you on an everyday. Again, when you wake up in your lucid dreams, you are aware of the self in that dream, as well as being triggered by realizing that you are in one. So another exercise is what I call like visualizing a kind of dream scene. This is a lucid dream technique that invokes a stronger sense of self-awareness. If you spend every night visualizing a dream about riding on a let's say giant water slide made out of ice cream, you'll actually dream about it sooner or later. Do you see what I mean? So if you are practicing on a regular basis, dreaming, visualizing a certain thing pretty much all the time, then you will have a lucid dream where that very thing happens. Again, it's a way of triggering and reminding you that you're in a lucid dream, but what you are doing is you're also practicing how to create reality once you are awake, and create what it is you want to happen, because that's the whole point of having a lucid dream. It's not just about becoming awake, it's about being able to control what it is you do in that environment. I do have a worksheet that goes into a lot more detail about this also. You can download that from my website as well. But those are just a few of the sort of techniques that I recommend before you try doing lucid dreaming. Right, so pop back now. Hi, so, you know, those are super, you know, super important practices that you kind of need to do as often as you can, because as I kind of said, the more that you do that, you cognitively train your brain at certain points in the day to do those things, and so therefore when you're sleeping you'll do them too. And for those who want to learn how to do this in depth and more often, I will be having some courses on lucid dreaming and also on astral projection. Sorry, that's my cat in the background. That I will be becoming and available sort of probably more at the beginning of the new year, for those who are interested in developing that more. But this is an introductory so that you can have your first one and maybe many more. So I'm going to go through and talk over some techniques that you can do. So I'm just going to put up the slides and talk over them. So hold on a second. Hello. So hopefully you can hear me. So the first tip to start having your first lucid dream is to start your own dream diary, whether you use it in a book or whether you just write on your notes in your phone. Do this every time you have a dream, for those that you can remember. If you do that every day, basically you are looking for themes, recurring stuff, again, that are going to be good trigger points to remind you and to tell you whether you're in a dream or not. But also if there is any themes that are problematic, something that once you get
really good at lucid dreaming, you can sort of try to solve and figure out. Number 2, make a trigger. Now, it could be the glass thing that we talked about, but it could also be that you pull your nose, you pull your ear, something that is like a sequence. A lot of people like to do the finger technique, which is to count all their fingers on their digits one way and then count all their digits on their fingers another, and I'll show you when I go back to screen what I mean. Because that requires thought, and again, just like the other exercises, if you practice them every day at certain points in the day, again, cognitively your brain is looking for that trigger, particularly when you're sleeping, to wake you up. And you can kind of do that in your lucid dream to know that you are awake now and observing and in control of that dream. Number 3, well actually number 4 should be first, which is to use the I am awake affirmation. The word I am is super powerful sort of affirmation. When you say I am in front of anything, it means that you are setting new intentions, whether that's to manifest anything or whether to do anything. So if you say to yourself before you go to sleep, I am going to have a lucid dream, and you do that every night, then guess what will happen? But also, if you do it during the day when you're doing your trigger points, and then after you do your trigger point, whether that is the finger technique, whether it's pulling your nose, or whether it's imagining or visualizing that smashing glass, then you need to say directly after it, I am awake. I am awake. And again, regularly do that during the day. Again, you'll be programming yourself when you are in a dream and you want to wake up, basically. Number 3, set your alarm clock early, which should have been number 4 actually. Set your alarm clock early. When you have REM sleep, you have 3 or 4 usually through the night, but your last REM sleep, which is at the end of your sleep, is the longest. So set your alarm clock for an hour or 2 hours before you wake up, so that you can catch yourself dreaming and waking in that REM state. That's the most important time to then go back into that dream once you've woken yourself up from it, to kind of be more aware of getting into a lucid dream. So once you've woken up, that's when number 5 steps in. Number 5, you have to kind of don't fall asleep, sort of. It's almost like you'll tell yourself, and you'll know you're going back to sleep, you need to kind of tell yourself and resist falling asleep for as long as possible. So all those signs that your body does that tells you to go to sleep, like rolling over or itching your skin, that your brain is saying, yeah, you're going back to sleep, notice them, be aware that's happening, but sort of say to yourself, no, I'm not falling asleep. And try to resist as long as possible. You are in fact, and you know you are going to fall asleep, but the longer you prolong that and you're keeping yourself awake, what should happen is your waking self should merge into your dream awake, if that makes sense. And again, if it doesn't, I'm going to have a download on my website that kind of goes into a lot more detail about this to kind of help you to do that. But this is the easiest and sort of quickest techniques with all the self-observation I've talked about that will help you. And the more you regularly do that, then you'll find yourself being able to do that, and the more lucid dreams you have, the more you can control them, the more you can invite people in, the more you can create your own activities, and the more that you can pause a dream almost, get up, go to the toilet if you need to, go back and go straight where you left off. That's when you have the greatest control. So just bear with me as I switch back to the other screen. So I kind of hope that all made sense, and thank you all for your patience. This is usually on my Facebook page, which I'm sort of streaming as well, but there's been a bit of dodgy Wi-Fi, but it seems to be working okay on YouTube. So thank you all for joining me here. But that was kind of my first kind of sort of introductory step, quick, 101 on how to have the lucid dream. I'd love to know if you've had one, how long it took, whether the method worked. Maybe you have a better method. Do share it. Do let me know. Do tell people. This is what my community is about. It's about sharing things that bring us to abundance and joy. And having a lucid dream, when you get it right, does create abundance and joy, because you will not be able to wait to go to sleep, because you'll be able to sort of control, figure out things, all the things I've talked about. So I do hope that's been helpful, and thank you so much for your joining my channel and for listening to me for the last 15-20 minutes, and I hope to see you again. And if you haven't checked out some of my other videos, then go and check them out. And again, if you want to check out my website, it's www.better